Hello everyone, very good morning. You are watching my YouTube channel CloudX India. So guys, what is CloudX India? This is newly launched YouTube channel and the main purpose of this CloudX India to upload cloud related topic. Okay. And in my agenda, I have AWS, Azure and Oracle Cloud. Apart from this, I also have the on-premises AD and VMware, but it's not in my priority list. Okay. So on ongoing topic is AWS and Azure. So I'll request you guys, if you did not subscribe my channel, please do subscribe so that you will get the latest news, latest update of the video. You can learn it, you can share with your friend and take the advantage of digital education. Okay. So guys, in my today's topic, I have Amazon network infrastructure. So before begin and going in deep, so we have to understand what is the network. So you can say the network is a crucial part of any organization. If you're going to plan to set up an office, right? So the definitely you think of the better network, right? If you have the better network or the system are connected with each other, then you can only exchange the information, right? So network is very important and very crucial part of any organization, right? And in the same way, if you are going to plan, if you are planning to purchase AWS services, right, you are planning to launch the EC2 instances there, database there, right? So you have to also think about how to design the network first. Then only you can set up, you can deploy the virtual machine, you can deploy the database, or there are so many services which is purely depend on the network, right? And the network part should be very important. It's not should be, it's very important for any organization, right? So let's see what is network and how to design the Amazon network. So in my agenda there are multiple things. You can see the first one, regions and availability zone. VPC and CIDR, what it is, we'll talk about. Route and routing tables, subnet and its routing, private and public subnet, private and public subnet connectivity, IGW NAT, and in the last, I have prepared some questions for you. Okay, so questions will help you to upscale your knowledge, prepare, like, it will help you to prepare for better interview preparation. It will help for interview preparation as well. Okay, so let's not wait guys, let's begin with the agenda. Okay, the first point is, what is regions? To understand the AWS infrastructure, we have to first understand two things: regions and availability zones. So let's see what is regions. So AWS regions are separated geographic area. Separate geographic area, it means, so if you say there are multiple countries, right? So India is separated from other countries. It's a logical, it has a boundary. China has a boundary. Russia has a boundary, right? So these are the regions. And AWS, if AWS are going to deal in any regions, right, so they have to build up their infrastructure there as well. Okay, so they categorize or segregated their IT environment or services into the regions all over the world. Okay, and there are total 18 regions in the world as of now. Okay, so that is one of the part, right? So suppose if AWS is planning to deploy, like, build their infrastructure in Ohio location, right? So in the Ohio is a regions which has the big geographical area, but AWS cannot distribute the hardware every part, right? So they choose a data center. They choose a physical location where they build actual, like, or they design their network. Okay, so the other part, under the regions, they select a location. Like if we talk about the India, so in the India, Mumbai, right? So in Mumbai they have the data center. Okay, so that is known as the availability zone. Okay, so what is availability zone? You can say availability zone is a set of building, internet, uplinks, and power. You can think of it as a data center as well, but some availability zone contain more than one physical data center. And For your information, guys, in any regions, AWS provide at least three availability zones. Okay, that is basically a recommendation of any high availability plan. Okay, if you are going to design a cluster server in your organization, right? So if you take the advice of VMware, so VMware always suggests at least take three ESX box in your cluster, right, for high availability and better capacity planning. In the same way, AWS also designing their infrastructure. In any region, AWS has at least three availability zone. And availability zone can have more than one physical data center. It up to up to the demand or yeah, definitely up to the demand. Okay. So I have guys, you understand what it is. So the next thing is what is VPC. So to design a network in AWS, right? So we have to understand about the VPC. Like if you want to set up the network in your on premises, right? So you think about the router, routing, you think about the switches, right? You think about the cables, right? So these things you these things come in your mind, right, before planning and designing the network, right? In the same way, when you are going to design the network over AWS, right, so the first thing comes how to design or isolate the environment, right? So the AWS provide you a service which is known as VPC, virtual private cloud. It is similar to your router, but this is a virtualized environment. Okay. So what does VPC do? And as a layman, I can say you can compare with a router, right? So it help you to design the network, okay, and isolate the environment. Sorry, guys. So a VPC is provide, or you can say VPC, it provides virtual network and connect to all data center in a regions. Okay, it means if you are deploying your services under, or you are going to design the network in North Virginia or Ohio location, right? So a VPC is connected to the one region, and all the data center or availability zones, whatever there inside the regions, come under this VPC. Okay, so I have also prepared some more thing for this. So VPC also provide you logical and isolated network. Okay, logical and isolated network means, so suppose you have a VPC, you create a VPC, okay, and there are two VPC. Okay, so first of all, you have designed a VPC. Under this VPC, suppose you deploy a virtual machine. So these all virtual machine can communicate to each other. This can communicate to each other, but this is the isolated, right? A system can communicate to other system inside the VPC, but it cannot communicate to the system which is in different VPC. So it's a completely isolated environment. It means you have account, it's your account. Take an example, and you have two VPC, right? So one VPC systems cannot communicate to the other VPC. Okay, so that is completely isolated virtual network, and it provides the high level security to the to your network, right? If you want to communicate to the other VPC system, so there are other mechanism which we will talk later. Okay, so the first thing, it provides the isolated network, logical isolated network. Second thing, it has a CIDR block which further divided into the subnet. So whenever you are going to plan to design a VPC, first of all, you have to think about the CIDR block. And this CIDR block should not similar to your on-premises if further you are going to create a VPN connection. Okay. Second, a CIDR block can be 16 or minimum 16 bit, and maximum it can be 28 bit, not less than 16 or not more than 28. Okay, CIDR blocks should be unique. As I said, this should not match with your on premises. If you're going further to plan to set up a VPN connection from your on premises to AWS, right? So make sure this is not overlapping. Next thing is a VPC is associated with one regions and all edges as are part of it. It means if you are going to deploy your services on Ohio location and you have created a VPC here, suppose VPC 1, take an example. So this VPC can be part of only one region. You cannot link this VPC with North Virginia. This is not possible. A VPC is limited with one region only. Okay. Next one, AWS provide by default 5 VPC, virtual private cloud. By default, you have the limitation of 5 virtual private cloud you can create. There is no problem. And if you want to increase, you can increase maximum 100 as of now. AWS provide by default. Okay, seems I have copied it. Okay, it's my fault. Sorry, guys. So AWS provide by default 5 VPC and maximum 100 virtual private cloud. Okay, so if you want to need more than 5, then you have to request to increase the limit from 5 to whatever the number you want. Okay, and that is a reason specific. Remember, if you are requesting limit increase in Ohio location, so it will increase the limit for Ohio, not for the North Virginia or any other location. So for North Virginia or any other location, you have to separate raise a request to increase the limit. And they hardly take 30 minutes to increase the limits as of now, what I have seen, right? So 30 minutes, not more than this. The next point is what is a route and routing. So once you create a VPC, right, by default, AWS create a local route. But before seeing, like, we'll talk, like, we'll see what is local route, okay? And before understanding the local route, we have to think or learn about what is route and routing. So the route is a defined pair of address which represent the destination and a gateway. Okay. So as I said, route is a defined pair of address which represent destination. Destination, suppose you want to access the Google. Okay. So from your system, how will you reach to the Google? That is totally depend on your route. Okay. And then routing. A routing is the mechanism that allows a system to find the network path to the another system. Means this is your one of the system you are residing inside your on premises, it has a different subnet, and this is the Google. Okay, and you want to reach to the Google, so you have to follow these two mechanism to reach to the Google. So that is the route and routing, and it is very important part for design a network, right? So you have to think of it, you have to learn this thing properly, right? But in AWS it is not very crucial part because it has the very straightforwarding routing, right? So you need not to think about the routing mechanism as you do in your on premises. Okay, so this is very straightforward. Sorry guys. So, guys, that's all in my theory, and I'm going to tell you about the lab, how to set up the lab for VPC. Okay, so in the lab, I have some documents as well. Okay, so what document it is? So in Notepad, I have prepared, right? So configuration, and I have also designed a network here, right? So I am selecting the Ohio location. So let me access the console as well. Okay. So guys, what you have to do, you have to see here, right? So in the last, this is the regions. You have to select the regions where you want to deploy the services. Okay. So as I said, I am going to deploy the services in Ohio region. So I have selected the Ohio regions. Okay, and Ohio, the code is Ohio is US East 2. Okay, so first of all, this is the region. Under region you come and you have to see how many availability zones are there in Ohio region. So how will you verify? So what you have to do? Nothing. Just click on EC2 services. Click on services and click on the EC2. Once you click on the EC2, you will see the numbers of availability zones available in this region. So go here, right? In the service health portal or column, you can see the region is Ohio, which is showing the healthy and the availability zones. So there are three availability zones: US East 2A, 2B, 2C. So total numbers of availability zones are three here. Okay. So as I said, AWS provide at least three availability zones in any regions, and North Virginia has the maximum six. Okay. So before creating the VPC, what you need the a CIDR block. So I have taken a CIDR block of 10.0.0.0.16. So let's see. So I have depicted a picture. This is a diagram of you can say the VPC, and for this I have taken a CIDR block. So I'll assign a CIDR block to this VPC. So let's create the VPC first. So guys, I am going one by one, okay, with the picture and the lab so that your understanding will be very good. Okay. So click on the VPC. Under the VPC, you can see by default AWS provided default VPC, which I have deleted, right? So because as per the standard practice, we should not keep the default VPC, right? If you are a fresher, you can keep it, you can use it. But as per IT industry, we will not keep the default VPC. So under the VPC, what you have to do, you have to click here, click on create VPC, right? Name it what name I have given in my text. So I have given name CloudX Compute Demo. So you can assign any name. So I'm assigning CloudX Compute Demo. CIDR block, as I said, I'll use 10.0.0/16. It cannot be less than 16. If I put the 15, you can see it will give me error. And it cannot more than 28. If I select 29, it will all again give me error. So it is saying size must be in between 16 and 28. So I'll select 16. No IPv6 tenancy is the default. Don't take the dedicated. Click here. It's a very simple and straightforward configuration. It's a one click and it will complete. Okay. So once you complete the creation of VPC, there are multiple part you can see. Under the description, you will see the VPC ID. Status is available. CIDR block is 10.0.0.0.16. DNS name resolution enable. We'll talk about what it is. DNS hostname disable. We'll talk about this one. Okay. So also it tenancy is default. Default VPC. It's not a default VPC. Okay. V6 CIDR we do not have. Network ACL is this is network ACL. Definitely we'll talk about this is a very important part. And DSCP option set. This is one of the another part. Definitely we'll talk. But let's go one by one what I have in my slide as of now. So I have created a VPC and you can see the VPC is it's belong to a region. Okay. So there is no availability zones are showing. And the next, once you create the VPC and you assign the CIDR block, it create a local route. In the route table, you can see it create a local route table. So if you click here and open it, So it will show exactly what I have mentioned, 10.0.0.0/16. So it will exactly show the same thing what CIDR block you have assigned to your VPC. Sorry guys. So in the table, this is the summary. Go into the route and see. This is the route table, 10.0.0.16, and target is local. Okay, status is active. And one important thing is local route you cannot delete. There is no such options to delete it, and there is no other parameters you can select it. So local route, always remember you cannot delete it. Okay, so the other part is subnet associated. You can see there are no subnet created as of now. So let's go back. And the next part, what I have in my practical, I have to create the subnet first. Okay, so subnet configuration for private network. So I have selected two different part, or you can say I have segregated my network into two different part. One is private, okay, and other one is the public. Okay, so what is the private and what is the public? I'll tell you. So before going to discuss about the subnet, right, so we have to understand this availability zone. So as I said, regions is a logical geographical area of any country, you can say, or it can be more than two regions in a country. Okay, and under each regions there is at least three availability zones, but here I have depicted two for the practical, okay, purpose. But there are at least three availability zones available in any regions. Okay, so here I have taken example of oh, this is a two, not one, right? So guys, this is a 2A. Okay, this is a 2A and 2B. Okay, this is a 2A for your understanding, and this is a 2B because I have selected the Ohio location and Ohio code is US is 2. Okay, so the services where actually your virtual machine deploy, you always deploy the virtual machine into the availability zones. Okay, so you have to further segregate your CIDR block into the subnet. Okay, so I have created two subnets, one private. So I have named US is 2A dev private. Okay, this subnet, this private subnet, I will link with the availability zones 2A. And I have created another private subnet 2B, and the range is 10.0.32/0/20, which I will associate with availability zone 2B. And this is also private subnet. And the next subnet is my the public subnet, which I will associate with 2A. And the next one is 2B, which is public subnet. I'll connect with this one with the availability zone B. So guys, naming, it's up to you, but I'll suggest use naming convention like this. So first US East 2, this is the regions code, and then availability zone. So if you go here into the console, okay, into the console, if you go, you can see. So each availability zone has a code. It has the alphabet order A, B, C. Okay, like two, it's a US East 2 Ohio. So it has US East 2 A, B, C. You can see. So to use the first this character as a location, as I say, US is 2A. It will be easy to identify which location is this, and then you have to define your environment, whether it is development, production stage, and is this public or private subnet. So I have mentioned it private subnet. In the same way for the public, I have used the same way. US is 2A dev pub, and IP range I have defined here. And in the same way for the availability zone 2B, I have defined here. Okay, so I keep one private and one public in each availability zone. Okay, So the first of all, we have to understand the purpose why I have two public and two private. Okay. And the second thing, before going in detail, so we have to understand availability zones. So subnet is associated with the availability zone. A subnet cannot be part of two availability zone. A subnet can be part of one availability zone, and a availability zone can be part of multiple subnet. As you can see, if there are 2 or 10 or 20 or 100, you can associate all the subnet with this single availability zone, but you cannot use one subnet with multiple availability zone. So this is the limitation of subnet. Okay. And the reason why I have public and private subnet here, suppose there are multiple regions, right? So nobody wants to expose their application server over the internet. Nobody want to expose their database over the internet. Okay. So any such services like your application server or your database you do not want to expose over the internet, so deploy this under the what? Private subnet. Okay. And how will you access it? So any services which you want to expose outside the network, right? Like your load balancer, it will be endpoint for your this application. So deploy the load balancer under the public subnet. Okay. So what happens? So end user will connect to the load balancer, and from this load balancer, the load balancer will help to access your application. So there is another video which I have uploaded for the load balancer. You can definitely go and see it to understand how the load balancer work. Okay. So the load balancer will be the front end and your application will be the second layer. Okay. So this is two tier application, you can say. So the first tier is your load balancer and second tier is your application server. So what happened? The load balancer is deployed under the public subnet. So it has the public IP. External user can like hit to the load balancer, and load balancer further connect to your application server. And if there is any information residing into the database and user need to access that, so what happen? Application connect to the database. Neither user will connect to the application server or database, or or also AWS load balancer will connect to the application but not to the database. What happened? The request will go to the application and application server will connect to the database, right? So you can say this is a three-tier application. So first tier is your load balancer, and if there is only application server, then this is the like two-tier application. But if your application is using database as well, so this is a three-tier application. So this is how the network design, or in real world how the network setup, right? So always deploy your server, the important application server, or every server under the private subnet. And if it is internet exposed or application and user from internet want to access, they can access through the load balancer. Okay. So this is one of the thing. And second thing is, since I have deployed it and we understand why we need the public and private subnet. So once you deploy any system, suppose under the private system and other system under the public system network. Take an example. For practice, we'll deploy one system into the public subnet as well. And in different availability zone, you have also deploy one more system. So what happen? How they will communicate to each other, right? So once they initiate the communication, what happen? The request always come from the local subnet. That is the reason why VPC automatically create a local route. If you have multiple subnet, all subnet inside the VPC are interconnected. Okay. So any systems you are deploying to any of the subnet, right? They are well connected with each other with the help of this local route. And this local route will not delete. Nobody can delete it. So as of now, I have created the VPC. Let's go and create the subnet as well. So to create the subnet, I have defined some name as I mentioned before. So go into the subnet, click on create subnet, name it. So name I have given here to A, okay, and then VPC, you have to select your VPC. So this is VPC I have created. You can see the name CloudX Compute Demo. Preference, definitely I want to give the preference to A because in my diagram I have mentioned for this to A. Okay, so I'll select to A and then subnet I have to define. What subnet I have to take? 10.0.0.0/20. I did the subnetting here. So click on create, go and create another subnet. Name, I'll select it pub because the second subnet is my public subnet, and the availability zone I'll select the A, and CIDR block is 16.0/20. This is also done. Now the third subnet is B, to be private first and then public. And since this is 2B, so select the 2B. Don't forget to select this, otherwise there is no use of name. Okay, naming convention. 20, not 20, it's 32, and then 0/20. Let me see once. There should not be any mistake. Yes. And the last one is to be public location, select to be, and 0.64 0/20, right? This is what I have exactly. Yes. And click on create button. So guys, you can see I have created 4 subnet as of now. So guys, that's for today. Okay, tomorrow we will, what we will do, we have multiple things. We will deploy the systems and we'll verify what is the subnet here. Okay, and like not what is the subnet, so we'll verify and see the subnets detail. Okay, description, routing table, and everything. Will deploy the virtual machine under the private and public system, public subnet, and see how it will connect over the internet. So I'll make the another video for tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll definitely make it and upload it. Guys, please stay tuned and watch my video, subscribe it, share with your friend. Okay, thanks guys, thanks for watching.